What's going on, everybody? My name is Zach, aka FFanCrazy, and I'm here to bring you my team builder for week 2 of the Pokemon Speedruns Draft League. So last week we unfortunately got a loss against Gino. I feel like I could have made some better plays, but I discussed kind of my mistakes at the end of the last video. So if you want to learn more about that, go ahead and watch last week. This week you got a new opponent, another divisional rival in BLainesterTheRogue and the 1% Rattata. A quick recap of our team overall. Currently we have a 2-8 tie for team MVP with Dragonite, not Dragonite, the Charizard X and Landorus T, both with 1 kill apiece. Left some kills on the table, but that was mostly to try to go for the home run and try to actually win, so I'm not going to regret that at all. Overall in the league, currently we have Greninja topping the leaderboards with 5 kills and a survival, so doing really well over there. But let's go ahead and talk about this week. So week 2, another divisional opponent. We're both 0-1, so this matchup is really important because you don't want to be last in the division. This week we're playing against, well, you can look at the team up at the top, so let's go ahead and briefly touch on the threats. First thing, we're going to talk about the 2 Z Crystal users. Gardevoir and Dugtrio, I think they're below average Z users overall. Dugtrio uses it in Ubers, but it's a little bit more specific and like targeted in that specific case. It can run Z Memento or Z Earthquake, but in general, I think that Choice Band and Choice Scarf are a little bit better options a lot of times. Gardevoir can run a Z Crystal, but it commonly runs Scarf or Specs, so given that it's not as common, it's going to be interesting to see if he uses it. I think he could have had Z Hydreigon, and that would have been a lot more scary, but he doesn't. So we're going to go ahead and deal with the ones that we have. So let's talk about the threats on the non-Z Crystal side of things. So first thing you'll notice is the first 3 Pokemon and the Rain package. So Kabutops incredibly scary in the rain, 160 effective base speed with Swift Swim, incredible attack stat with Liquidation, Stone Edge, Superpower, and Swords Dance commonly run. It's a very important threat, and you have to be prepared for it, and that's going to be a lot of what my team is built around. Pelipper is the enabler for that. It also is a decent bulky water type. It can fire off Scalds and stuff like that, and you also build it offensive with Specs. Which can actually be really scary. Zapdos, commonly run defensively, but obviously you can run it more offensively. It's got great attacking stats, got great stab, good coverage moves. Other notable threats, Pursuit Trapping with Alolan Muck, very scary, commonly running Assault Vest. Hydreigon we touched on briefly, but it's commonly Choice Scarf, but it can be run with Life Orb as well, or even Specs. Mega Steelix is a one-trick pony, physical wall most of the time, but incredibly good at that, and commonly running Stealth Rocks and Curse. Other things on the team, Dusknoir and Tangela are both Eviolite walls. They're very similar in that way, and they can both spread status with either Toxic or Will-O-Wisp. And Fortress is a spinner as well as a spike setter, which can be pretty annoying in certain circumstances as well. So those are the main threats on the team, or all of the Pokemon on the team even. Let's talk about what I brought. So this week, first things first, I was very, very cognizant in the draft of picking up Seismitoad. I would have settled for either Swampert or for Gastrodon, but Seismitoad was sort of the best one in my team because I needed a water resist. In this case, a water immunity, which is better. So that made it better than Swampert, even though I think Swampert's better heads up most of the time, like just better Pokemon overall. I also really wanted Stealth Rock, which is why I wanted it over Gastrodon, because Gastrodon doesn't have that. So that was the main reason I wanted Seismitoad, which I got it. And this matchup was the main reason why. Having Water Absorb against the Rain team is really huge. It's a great lead, and runs Stealth Rocks. So a couple quirky things. Stealth Rock is obvious. Toxic is pretty obvious. It helps against Pelipper, helps against Zapdos, helps against Switch-Ins. The option to run Surf specifically over either Scald or Hydro Pump was because it helps me 2-shot KO, 2-hit KO Mega Steelix heads up, meaning that I can beat it in a lead fight pretty easily. That was the main reason to run it, because I would have had to invest too many special attack EVs to be able to beat it otherwise with Scald. And Hydro Pump's too inaccurate, so I didn't want to go for that. The spread on the EVs. Oh, Earthquake also, by the way, over Earth Power, mostly for Muck. So, like, I don't need Earth Power for Steelix, therefore I can run Earthquake for Muck. Muck commonly runs Assault Vest, so that's the main reason why. Slightly worse against Kabutops, but that's fine. EVs, I really wanted bulk, so HP is really huge. As much defense as I could fit in there. The 48 special attack EVs is going back to the Surf option against Mega Steelix, so that's what helps me secure the 2-shot guaranteed. 8 speed EVs despite running a minus speed nature because I wanted to be able to outspeed minimum speed investment Pelipper. We might see if the speed creep happens next time around if he's running a standard Pelipper, but for this week I wanted to just try to speed creep it a little bit. Relax because I wanted extra defense EVs because I'm commonly going to be switching into things like Kabutops and Steelix. So next up, the other Pokemon I did not bring last week on the team this week is Porygon 2. So Porygon 2 is one of my favorite Pokemon. Trace is a really powerful ability. Copying a lot of other Pokemon's abilities can actually come out really powerful in the right circumstances. So there's a specific Pokemon we'll talk about this week, but commonly things like Intimidate Gyarados or Intimidate Salamence back in the day, it used to come in and beat pretty easily because of that. So on this set, it's pretty standard. Recover, obviously, for recovery, especially because you need Eviolite on Porygon 2 for its bulk. So recovery is its only form of healing. Toxic, because I wanted to be able to punish switch-ins, and I didn't really need Thunder Wave this week. The speed wasn't as important, and the thing I would want to paralyze anyway can't be paralyzed in Zapdos. So yeah, the speed tiers just work out where it doesn't make any sense to bring Thunder Wave, so Toxic's a lot better. Ice Beam is, well, and it also helps against things like Zapdos and Pelipper, although Pelipper we'll get to in a second. So Ice Beam is mostly there for Hydreigon. Well, it's there because it's best attacking move besides Tri-Attack, but in this situation it's much better because it beats up on Hydreigon and Dugtrio, which we'll get to in a second. Thunder is literally because of Pelipper, because Thunderbolt does not OHKO, but Thunder does, and it's guaranteed to be raining against the Pelipper. Obviously, if I'm fighting a Kabutops heads up out of rain, I don't think I want to be in that fight anyways. I probably get OHKO'd by Superpower most of the time, so the inaccuracy there doesn't matter as much. If for some reason I end up in that circumstance, I'm probably going to win. So the main gimmick here is that I can trap Dugtrio with tracing Arena Trap. I can trap it and then very likely one-shot it with Ice Beam with this current stat line. I can't remember. Let me double check really quickly. Against Dugtrio. Yeah, it's likely to OHKO it, and it's guaranteed after Stealth Rocks. So this will work in tandem with something later. In retrospect, I don't want to hard switch this into Dugtrio if I can help it, but I can inadvertently get in if I need to. So that's the main thing there. Yeah, speed is to also speed creep Pelipper at minimum investment. Everything else is in special defense and HP for longevity. Next Mon on my team. This is a really unique Celebi set. So this Celebi was sort of, well, I'll talk about a few things. So let's start with the obvious, Giga Drain. I need to be able to beat Kabutops. Like, this Pokemon is basically, it's playing man-to-man coverage on Kabutops. That's what it's there for. I need to be able to beat Kabutops to sweep. Kabutops is faster than my entire team. I can't outspeed it without something like a Choice Scarf Raichu, which unfortunately did not make the cut. So I needed some reliable defensive check. Giga Drain, obviously, so I can OHKO. I can OHKO Kabutops and get some health back. Leech Seed was because I realized that Kabutops is going to have to switch out. Like, it can't reliably try to stay in and run any funny business. Because I don't even think that it realistically is going to be running an ice move. I don't even know if it gets Ice Punch at all. So as a result, I'm likely going to be able to force it out, and I wanted a switch in, a way to punish switch-ins with Leech Seed. It's better than Toxic on my team or Thunder Wave, as we previously discussed. It's better than Toxic because I have 2 other Toxic users, and Leech Seed also hits my most common switch-in, which is going to be Muck. Muck is the main reason why this set is running the very strange Baton Pass with no stat boosting move. So the idea is that U-turn versus Pursuit means that if I U-turn the same turn that a slower Pokemon pursuits me, I take double damage just like I switched out. And I do not want to be taking pursuits because I need this to be healthy to switch into Kabutops. So as a result of that, what that means is that I needed a way to be able to get out against Muck. Otherwise, I was going to have to sit here and switch into Kabutops and U-turn out, and I was going to get whittled down over time doing that. So as a result, I decided to go for Baton Pass so that I can actually Leech Seed the switch confidently, knowing that I can Baton Pass out of danger. And it's not that much worse than U-turn if you don't have that much attack investment anyways. Obviously, the chip damage from U-turn is nice, but it runs a similar functionality without that. Healing Wish is interesting. I originally had Earth Power in this slot, and I could consider going back, and that was the idea, is to help with Mega Steelix. But the problem was it didn't do much damage. I think it was like either a 3 or 4 shot kill. I want to say it was like somewhere in between there. Like it wasn't guaranteed 3 shot, but it was likely. And if he curses against me, I can't beat it 1v1 anyways. I think it 2 shots me. So it's like there's no sense in trying to beat that thing. I don't think heads up. So I decided to not go for another attacking move and go for Healing Wish. Healing Wish we'll talk about a little bit more later, but it's going to help my primary game plan, which, as you might guess, involves a certain fire dragon. So, but yeah, Healing Wish, if I'm low health and I've checked out the Kabutops, that's my main goal. And if I can then Healing Wish into something else that's low health, that gives me another attacking Pokemon. So that was the main goal for this. So if I can get Kabutops down, that's its primary main objective, and then live just long enough to Healing Wish out. Special attack investment, by the way, so I can 4-shot Mega Steelix. It was worth the special attack investment in my opinion, because the healing kind of helps me. If I need to check Steelix with this, it can do an okay job if it gets a little bit of a head start on health. Next Pokemon team is really weird. This slot was a million things. It was Comfy at one point, it was Raichu at one point, it was Hoopa at one point, it was Scizor at one point. It was pretty much everyone on my team except Scrafty was in this slot. And in the end, this is sort of a weird concession to Gardevoir in a way. I needed a way to be able to revenge kill Gardevoir, because Z Gardevoir is surprisingly annoying for my team, despite kind of, saying that it's not that great of a Z Crystal user, because it has so many good coverage moves. It's actually really annoying for my team, and even Scarfed, or not so much Scarf, but Specs Gardevoir can be really annoying. So this lets me revenge kill it. It's OHKO with Sludge Wave, like vast majority of the time. It's like 87% or something to OHKO, guaranteed after Stealth Rock. So I really wanted to run this. Now, you may notice a couple weird things. So we'll talk about the weirder one first, Shed Shell. It's obvious why it's there, but Shed Shell is there to bait Dugtrio. I can either, if I feel like my Porygon 2 isn't needed for anything else, I can hard switch into Porygon 2 and beat it, and unless it gets some lucky crits. And then if I don't feel like it, I can actually switch out into Celebi with Shed Shell, because this is the other mon that Celebi checks very well, and then it forces it to switch out. Don't get the trap that way with the Porygon 2, but if I can get in Porygon 2 at high health, it'll be more reliable. So that's gonna be like the main goal. That's basically the idea, is like Shed Shell out, I can switch into Porygon 2. Even if it's Z Earthquake, I can tank like 50 to like 61, and then recover spam against the Earthquakes to like heal the full, so that I can Ice Beam it and likely one-shot it, although it sometimes takes a 2-shot. So the recover kind of helps make sure I don't like lose the fight. But yeah, the other weird thing is Hidden Power Water. Normally Grass Knot's running that slot, and he doesn't really get any other coverage moves than Neolego. Sludge Wave is obvious because I need it for Gardevoir, and it helps against things like Tangela randomly. Power Gem is Stab. It also helps against Zapdos quite a bit, and can chunk Pelipper if it switches in on it. T-Bolt is for Pelipper, is for Kabutops, although I can't realistically beat Kabutops out in the rain at all. And it's a decent just like random neutral coverage move. And then Hidden Power Water, the thing is that Hidden Power Grass does OHKO Kabutops, but so does T-Bolt like the vast majority of the time. And then the Grass Knot also helps against Dugtrio if Dugtrio switches in and I predict it. But the gimmick is that Hidden Power Water does almost I think it's exactly the same amount of damage as I think it's because of how light Dugtrio is, the base power is the same, and Hidden Power Water does more to Mega Steelix, and those are the only 2 Pokemon I would ever use Grass Knot against at all. So I decided it was worth it. Plus, if it's raining, it randomly just does more damage. So Hidden Power Water, as weird as that is actually the best move for that slot. The speed investment is to outspeed max speed plus nature Zapdos, because I want to be able to switch into Power Gem it to death without having to take another hit. Everything else goes in special attack just for damage, and then special defense because I have no boosting items, so I needed as much power as possible. I wanted to be modest, but it just wouldn't work. I needed to be able to beat Zapdos. So yeah, that's the main thing for that spread. Next thing on the team is Landorus. So this is a weird set, but kind of not. The main thing here is that I need to be able to beat Muck. And this is my best Muck switch in. So I needed this. Originally, I was going to try to not run Landorus. Not because I didn't want to, but because he's got a lot of Pokemon that can beat it. Like, it's not a great switch in to Zapdos because Zapdos often runs HP Ice. It cannot beat... a Swords Danced Kabutops in the rain. Unfortunately, even with the Intimidate, it doesn't beat it. I obviously can have an impossible time against Pelipper if it gets to attack me. So it's like, it has some bad matchups, but it has enough good matchups, and it can kind of come in like pseudo revenge kill and check some Pokemon if it can get in with enough health. Defog is because I just needed a hazard clear. And then the weird move you may notice is Earth Power and Earthquake. So originally I was trying to run some weird special attacking because I was like, oh man, Mega Steelix like does not take that much damage from Earthquake, especially if it's running Curse. You cannot beat it heads up, but Earth Power, you can two-shot it every single time. And so the weird thing is I'm running a minus special attack nature, but I'm running a special attacking move. But because the only Pokemon I care about Earth Powering is exactly Mega Steelix, and this two-shots it whether or not I have the, like, I could be plus special attack, and I don't think I could I might be able to one-shot it, but then I can't do anything with, like, Stone Edge, for example. And I need Stone Edge to be able to beat Zapdos and Pelipper if they switch in on me, especially Pelipper. I can bait Pelipper in potentially with a Z Stone Edge. I would have like tried to run some like more mixed set, but then I need Earthquake from Muck because it runs Assault Vest. So it's like I had to run both. I would have run U-Turn over Earth Power likely, or Swords Dance. But because I realistically needed like both, I needed like U-Turn is great. I love U-Turn, but I needed to be able to beat both Pokemon, and this is just like a pivot that I can use to do that. So it's a pretty reliable one for that. The spread is hilariously awkward. I needed enough speed to outspeed Gardevoir, so that was mandatory. The way that it worked out, I had to choose one. I could either guaranteed one-shot Gardevoir at I think 200 or 204 attack EVs with Earthquake, guaranteed. But I had to then remove some of my special defense or HP EVs, which means that then I could be fairly reliant. I was like 6% to survive a Moon Blast plus Stealth Rocks at neutral, if it was Z Gardevoir. So it was like I had to pick one or the other, and I picked surviving over doing the guaranteed one-hit KO after Stealth Rocks. It was something that was close, but I had to make a decision there. It basically worked out to where if I removed any of those numbers from special defense, HP, or attack to try to compensate to like just make me over the threshold either way, it would remove just enough EVs to where it would like mess up the other calculation. And hilariously, the 4 defense EVs that Gardevoir runs, or HP EVs, means that if it runs 4 defense or 4 HP EVs, I cannot OHKO it. But if it didn't run that, I could. It's hilarious. But yeah, that's the idea behind the spread. This is sort of like a glue Pokemon and potentially a bait for Pelipper. Let's talk about my last Mon and my overall strategy for the week. So this is interesting because originally my gut instinct said that Charizard X was going to be bad this week because he's running Rain. And to an extent that's true, except for the fact that if the following things are true, Charizard wins by itself. If Dugtrio is dead, or he makes a bad mistake and switches it in and just gets chunked, and Rain is gone, and or Kabutops is gone, but mostly Rain is gone because I can beat Kabutops outside of Rain. But if Rain is gone and Dugtrio is gone, and that's pretty much it. I think those are the only, and he's not, yeah, like that's literally it. Then this thing just chews his entire team up because nothing wants to take Flare Blitzes out of the Rain. Nothing wants to take them. And then like he has to be running like he can't outspeed me with a +1 Dragon Dance. He cannot outspeed me with Hydreigon. So, like, this is an important Pokemon because his entire team is actually incredibly susceptible to this set. I was going to originally try to run some gimmick move sets like Thunder Punch because I was like, oh, I'm going to bait in the Pelipper and Thunder Punch it to death, which would have been great, except for the fact that I need Dragon Claw to beat Hydreigon because Hydreigon will guaranteed stop me otherwise with Scarf. And I needed Earthquake for Muck. And if it was not, and to a lesser extent, Kabutops. If it wasn't, and like Gardevoir, like it helps me not take as much Flare Blitz damage also, because like randomly I can just Earthquake some things that I wouldn't have to Flare Blitz otherwise. So like I just needed both of those moves, and I needed Flare Blitz because it just did so much damage. So as much as I wanted to run Thunder Punch, and I need Dragon Dance to be able to beat Hydreigon also. So like because I needed Dragon Dance and Dragon Claw to beat Hydreigon, there was just no room for Thunder Punch as much as I wanted to run it because I thought it was a good idea. But because of this setup, my goal is get rid of Dugtrio. That's incredibly important, and that's one of the main reasons why the trapping Porygon is going to be huge. I need to get rid of the Pelipper, which is going to be a lot harder. I'm really hoping Landorus can actually kill Pelipper with the bait. That's going to be huge. The Pelipper is actually going to be the harder one because he was very defensive with Pelipper last week and not letting it die and keeping it alive because he knows that Kabutops can be such a powerful win condition. If I can make those two things happen, you know, I need to be relatively high health, but the other cool thing is that because Charizard has decent switches in the early game, even in Rain, it can just sit there and, you know, Flare Blitz, deal damage, chunk things down, especially, you know, things that, you know, there's like not a lot of great switch-ins to that. If I can do that, and I can chunk down things, even if I take damage from Stealth Rock and Recoil and random like little bits of damage, I can then, as long as Dugtrio is dead and as long as Rain is gone, Celebi doesn't need to stick around, I can Healing Wish into this and just sweep. So that's going to be the game plan. Yeah, that's going to be it overall. I'm hopeful that this will work. There's some weird things like Gardevoir is actually surprisingly annoying because I don't have a lot of great switches into it because I take too much damage switching into it with a lot of things if it predicts right. So Gardevoir is annoying and I need to kind of revenge kill it. Dugtrio is actually easy for me to beat, but if I don't beat it, I can lose if I don't kill it. And then Pelipper is going to be incredibly important to get rid of the Rain, because while the Rain is up, Kabutops is an incredible threat that I have to just keep relying on switching in. And the other important thing is what HP is Zapdos running if he brings it. Because that can catch me off guard. Like if he does run HP Grass and he hits my Seismitoad with it, then I've lost a really good check to Pelipper and I've lost a really good check to Kabutops as a backup. So, and Steelix for that matter. So like Steelix can actually run Ram Shot if I don't be careful. But that's my team builder. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. And yeah, hopefully we can get a W this week. Peace out.